Hey everyone, ready for something big? We're going deep on extinction events today.
Ooh, sounds intense.
It is. But we're not just talking dinosaurs and asteroids. We're linking those massive shakeups to something you might not expect. The accelerating rate of change and what it means for us today.
So, like how fast things are changing is connected to events millions of years ago.
Exactly. And to help us make sense of it all, we're going to be drawing on some insights from futurist thinker Kartik Gada. He's got some seriously mind-blowing
I'm
ideas.
intrigued already.
Me too. So let's jump in. We usually think of extinction events as just, well, the end, pure destruction.
Right, like game over for whatever got wiped out.
Yeah, but Kartik points out that it's not that simple. He sees them as kind of like reset buttons for life on Earth.
Reset buttons, so almost like they clear the way for something new.
That's the idea. And he uses two major extinction events to illustrate this. First, there's the Permian-Triassic extinction. Happened a mind-boggling 252 million years ago.
Wow, 252 million years. That's like way before the dinosaurs, right?
Way before. It's actually the biggest extinction event ever. Wiped out the vast majority of life on Earth,
Okay, that's definitely hitting the reset button hard.
for sure. And then there's the one everyone knows, the Cretaceous-Paleogene extinction. 66 million years ago, that's the one that took out the dinosaurs.
And I'm guessing paved the way for us mammals to take over.
You got it. So I got to ask, if the Permian-Triassic extinction was bigger, why do we always hear about the dinosaurs?
Well, dinosaurs are just cooler. Plus, it's the one that directly led to us being here. But both events totally reshaped life on Earth.
So even though they were huge disasters, they also created opportunities for new things to evolve.
Absolutely. And here's where it gets really interesting. The speed of recovery after each extinction is crucial. The recovery after the dinosaur extinction, the Cretaceous-Paleogene, it was much faster than the recovery after the Permian-Triassic.
So life was getting better at bouncing back.
That's what Kartik is suggesting. This difference in recovery times points to a trend. The rate of change in evolution itself is accelerating. Life bounces back faster and faster.
Wait, evolution is speeding up. Like, things evolved slowly a long time ago, but now it's on fast forward.
Think of it this way. Imagine all of Earth's history squeezed into a single year. Dinosaurs wouldn't even show up until December. And humans. Just a few seconds before midnight on New Year's Eve.
Whoa, that puts things into perspective. So we're living in a time where the rate of change is super intense.
You got it. And this isn't just some abstract idea. It affects technology, economics, even how we think about investing.
Okay, now you've really got my attention. Investing. How do extinction events and dinosaurs connect to our wallets?
Well, Kartik draws a line from those accelerating recovery patterns after extinction events to the way the stock market behaves. Just like life bounces back from setbacks, so does the market.
Interesting. So he's saying that dips in the market might be recovering faster than we're used to.
Exactly. And this leads to maybe his most thought-provoking point, the potential of technology-driven investments. If the overall rate of change is speeding up, tech, with its fast innovation, would be right at the front of that wave.
Okay, I'm starting to see the connection. But isn't it a bit of a leap to base investment strategies on events from millions of years ago? Dinosaurs didn't have smartphones.
That's a fair point. It's not about making a direct comparison. Kartik's argument is more nuanced. It's about the principle. Systems that change and adapt quickly are likely to bounce back faster from disruptions. And in our world, what changes faster than anything else?
Well, technology, obviously. Everything from AI to biotech is evolving at warp speed. But how does that translate into actual investing advice?
It's about understanding the big trends. Kartik suggests paying close attention to sectors poised to benefit from this acceleration rather than those stuck in the slow lane. Like, if you're betting on the future, wouldn't you bet on the racehorse, not the dinosaur?
Okay, I get it. So instead of trying to pick individual winning stocks, which is near impossible, we should look for the bigger picture, those underlying patterns that drive change.
Exactly. He's not saying it guarantees success, but it's a powerful framework for understanding our complex world.
Wow, this is making me rethink how I see both history and the future.
Huh.
But it feels like we've only scratched the surface here.
Oh, we definitely have. There's so much more to unpack. What does this accelerating rate of change mean for us as individuals, for society, and where does it all lead?
Big questions. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's take a moment to absorb what we've learned. This idea that the pace of change is speeding up and that it's actually woven into life itself. That's pretty mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing is right. And when you connect it to the bigger picture, it suggests we're on the verge of some really big changes.
Like what kinds of changes? What does this actually look like?
Well, let's take biotechnology, for example. We're already seeing these huge breakthroughs, gene editing, personalized medicine, even the possibility of extending human lifespan. Things that seemed like sci-fi just a few years ago are becoming reality.
So you're saying we might be looking at a future where people were living to 150.
Hmm.
That's crazy. But how does this tie back into that whole accelerating change thing?
The speed that biotech is advancing at is the perfect example. I mean, it took decades to map the human genome, but now we're editing genes with CRISPR super fast. And that pace is only going to get faster.
That's kind of both exciting and a little scary, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I get that. And then you've got artificial intelligence, too. It's already changing so many industries, but as it gets more sophisticated, AI is going to have a huge impact on everything. How we get around, how we learn, even how we govern ourselves.
Whoa, okay. So self-driving cars, algorithms that personalize your education, maybe even AI politicians someday. This is getting a little too sci-fi for me.
It might sound like it, but it's probably closer than you think. The key is to approach these changes with a good mix of wonder and also some critical thinking. We need to be informed and engaged in shaping the future, not just sitting back and watching it happen.
So instead of being scared of robots taking over, we should be thinking about how to use this technology for good.
Exactly. Which brings us back to us as individuals. How do we prepare for this future where everything is changing so fast? It's all about lifelong learning, adapting constantly, and being willing to get out of our comfort zones. The jobs of the future might not even exist yet.
Okay, now that's a little unsettling. So we all need to become like software engineers or something.
Not really. It's more about having that mindset of adapting and being ready to learn new skills all the time. I mean, the skills that mattered 100 years ago are totally different from what we need today, and that's only going to get more intense.
So be more adaptable, more open to new ideas, more comfortable with uncertainty. Easier said than done.
I know, right? But I think that's a big takeaway from Kartik. This acceleration isn't something to be afraid of. It's a chance to be part of shaping the future.
I like that. But how do we even begin to wrap our heads around this? It's a lot.
It is. It's totally normal to feel overwhelmed. But I think just being more aware of the patterns around us is a good start. Notice how fast technology is changing. Pay attention to new trends and be curious about the forces shaping our world.
Okay, so pay attention. Be curious. Don't be afraid to ask questions. That's good advice for anything, really. But let's be real. A lot of people are going to be wondering how this affects their money. We talked about the stock market before, but how can someone actually use this knowledge when making investment decisions?
Now, full disclosure, I'm not a financial advisor, so I can't tell you exactly what to invest in. But let's say you're looking at two companies, right? One is a traditional manufacturing company that's been doing the same thing for years. The other is a new tech startup doing cutting-edge AI stuff. Which one do you think has a better chance in a world where everything's speeding up?
I'm going to guess the tech startup. But isn't that risky? Startups are pretty unpredictable.
True. There's always risk with investments. But the point is, understanding those bigger trends can help you make smarter choices. If the rate of change is accelerating, it makes sense to focus on sectors that will benefit from that acceleration. And those are the sectors that are driving the change, innovating super fast, creating the future.
So tech, biotech, AI, those are the areas to watch.
Definitely some big ones to keep an eye on. But it's not about just throwing money at any tech company. Do your research, understand the businesses, and really think about their potential.
Right, it's not a magic formula.
Yeah.
But it's a different way of looking at investments.
Exactly. And it's a way of thinking that applies to more than just investing too. Your career, your education, even how you spend your time.
So we've talked about this accelerating rate of change impacting biotech AI, how we think about investing. But where does it all go? What happens when the pace of change gets so fast that it's impossible to keep up?
That's the big question, isn't it? It's something that's fascinated people for years. Some people think it points towards this thing called a technological singularity.
Okay, I've heard of that, but honestly, I'm not sure I really get it. What exactly is a singularity?
Well, it's this hypothetical point in time when AI becomes so advanced that it's actually smarter than humans. Imagine machines that can not only learn, but they can design and build even smarter machines, this runaway cycle of growth.
So basically a superintelligence that could solve all our problems, but maybe also decide that humans aren't really needed anymore.
Yeah, the possible outcomes of a singularity are a big debate. Some people are super optimistic about it. They imagine a future where we've eliminated things like disease and poverty and human potential just explodes. But others are more worried about the risks, like what if that kind of powerful technology falls into wrong hands, or what if it develops its own goals?
Definitely gets the imagination going. I can see why people are both excited and scared by the idea. But even if we don't get to a full-on singularity anytime soon, it seems like this acceleration is going to change things a lot.
Absolutely. And we can already see those changes happening around us. Think about automation and how it's changing jobs. Jobs that used to be safe are gone, and new jobs are popping up that we couldn't have even imagined before.
It's a lot to adjust to. What advice would you give to someone feeling overwhelmed by all this change?
I think Kartik's perspective is really helpful. Instead of seeing all this change as a bad thing, we can see it as a chance to be part of creating the future.
So how do we do that? Where do we even start?
We'll start by embracing that lifelong learning idea. Be adaptable and be willing to try new things. The best skill to have in the future is going to be the ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn. You have to constantly evolve to keep up.
It's like we need to be as adaptable as those first life forms that survived the extinction events, always changing to fit the new environment.
Exactly. It's all about having a growth mindset,
Yeah.
being open to new ideas, new experiences, and being willing to question what you think you know.
Be curious, be bold, and never stop learning. That's good advice for life in general, I think. So to wrap things up, if you had to pick one key takeaway, what would it be?
I think the most important thing to remember is that the future isn't something that just happens to us. It's something we create by the choices we make, the things we do, and how willing we are to embrace what we don't know.
What an amazing thought. So to everyone listening, no matter what happens, remember you have a role to play in shaping the future. Embrace the possibilities, stay curious, and keep exploring. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the accelerating rate of change.
It was my pleasure.
And remember, the future is full of possibility. What role will you play in shaping it?